So now what I wanted to talk about, and this is kind of a perfect video to release after the last one that we just talked about. And so the last video was talking about how fasting was really dangerous for someone. And then this video was, again, recommended to me in my Discord. But this is from the YouTuber Nicole Bertone. And it's called How the Body Positivity and Haze Movement Almost Killed Me. And then she says, really? And so I think that it'll be an interesting kind of juxtaposition from, extreme dieting things versus extreme anti-dieting things. And maybe it'll serve as a good example as to why being on the extremes of either end probably isn't the best, right? So let's see what she has to say. I sped up her video a little bit because she does talk a little slowly for you guys.
Hi, y'all. My name is Nicole, and I've lost almost 80 pounds. I'm 51, and I'm a mom, and I'm a nurse. And today, I want to talk about how the body positivity and the health at any size movements caused me to allow myself to stay in poor health and endanger my life.
How's the speed on that? Let me know.
Really. I think I have a unique perspective to talk about these things because I'm a little bit older than a lot of the other people who talk about this topic, and I did have serious health ramifications for being overweight. My highest weight, I think, was 218 pounds, and I am now 132 pounds.
Wow.
If you would like some receipts, you're welcome to go back and look at some older videos on my channel.
She said if you want some receipts. I love it. I'm interested because I watched like up until this point when I was kind of like, vetting the video to make sure I wanted to talk about it. But I think that it'll be really interesting to hear the opinions of someone that is, over 25 years old, because that's usually seems to be the median age of people that are really into health at every size.
Or pictures on my Instagram or my YouTube, which I'll link below. But I over the last year, have experienced what it's like to be a smaller size person. And over the last decade and a half, or up to 2 decades, was a larger size person. And so I can compare and contrast the way my body felt when I was bigger and when I'm smaller, as well as tell you what happened to me. Because a lot of the people in this particular movement are younger. They range from, teenagers to people in their early 30s, mostly the most vocal ones. And they haven't gotten to the age yet where this philosophy of health at any size could catch up with them.
Interesting. I wonder who said that before.
And so that's just the story I have for you today, is how that philosophy did encourage me to put off things I probably should have done about my weight, and to put off feeling like I was unhealthy, because it gave me a very, very good excuse and some good examples of people living that lifestyle who were healthy. So I guess I'll start at the beginning. I was what I consider to be healthy. My labs were good. I was very active. I have a very, very active job. I'm a nurse. I take care of other people. So I had a very active job. I could do what...
Shout out to all the nurses out there, because, wow, that's a hard job.
What I wanted to do and what I needed to do. I dressed as cute as I could for my size. I feel like I was attractive for my size. I have a partner. I have happy kids. I had what I consider to be a good life. And I have been following the health at any size and the body positivity movement for some time on Instagram and on social media, on Twitter and such, and looked towards those people as an example of people my size living their best life. And I felt like I was too. I did not eat unhealthy, really. I probably just ate a whole lot too much. I really was not a fast food eater. I wasn't that much of a junk food eater, although I did have my little favorite junk foods, everybody does. I ate relatively healthy for a person my size. I did not have a binge eating disorder, but I do recognize now that I did have some disordered eating, in that I rewarded myself with food very often for hard days, for stressful days, when good things happened, when bad things happened. I felt like I deserved a treat.
So everything that she's explaining so far, like, I don't have a problem with that. And this is what I've said before. I truly do believe, and I know people disagree with me on this, and that's fine. Hey, be mad at me. I'm used to it now. But like, there are 100% people that might be considered overweight that are completely healthy, that are living healthy lives, that make healthy decisions. But like she says, maybe you're just eating a little bit too much. Maybe you're just overindulging a little bit too much. And like the whole thing where she's talking about how like she would use food as a way to like say, you know, oh, I had a good day, I had a bad day, I used to cope. Like, that's such a normal thing that I don't think if that's happening a little bit, that it's something that you need to be worried about, because that is such a normal human thing to do. And so it's when that starts getting out of control is when you should be worried about it. But if it happens every now and then, like, I don't think it's the end of the world, and it's something that you need to be like, oh my gosh, I need to fix this right away or else I'm going to die. Like, it's okay. It's okay.
Or a good meal out or something like that. I loved to eat out with my husband. We loved experiencing new meals and going new places, and that was one of our favorite things to do together. And I will preface this with, I didn't have to give that up. You don't have to give everything up. Your life will change, but it's not all deprivation and living without afterwards. So I felt like I was very healthy, didn't have high blood pressure, my labs looked good, and over the years, as I got a little closer to 50, my cholesterol levels ooched up a little bit, but still within, you can control this with some diet changes territory. And so that's what I attempted to do. I just made a few dietary changes. And I will say, I was very irritated with the medical establishment at that time for blaming pretty much any complaint that I had on my weight and telling me that if I would exercise more and lose weight and eat better, that my health problems, my small little nagging health problems would go away. You know, I had some lower back pain. I played roller derby. I'm a nurse. I'm almost 50. I figured those things just came with age.
And this is, again, everything she's saying on point. Like, this is one thing that I agree with the Health at Every Size movement is like getting people in the medical field and the, you know, doctors in the medical profession to not just look at someone's weight. Like, yes, I do think it's very important. 1000%. Obviously I do, right? But it's not the only thing that matters, right? It's not the only thing that matters. So if someone is bigger and they're saying I'm having back problems, yes, maybe talking to them about their weight makes sense, but also let's go deeper and try and figure out what's going on instead of just say, hey, maybe lose some weight, see you later. Like, that's not helpful.
I had some joint pain. I was tired a lot. I was very tired, and I chalked all of those things up to my busy lifestyle. I was very active socially. I'm real involved in a lot of things, and so I had a lot going on, and so I chalked up all those things to that. And I had these examples of really, really active, attractive people who were telling me that I could love myself the way that I was, that I didn't need to change anything about myself, and that really I only felt that I should because of societal pressure. And I am not going to negate those things at all. There is societal pressure to meet certain beauty standards. I have a daughter who is a tween, and I worry about those things all the time. There is definitely a push in society to meet a certain ideal. And I am absolutely 100% not saying that I am a nutrition expert, a mental health expert, or that you should not love yourself the way that you are, because I feel everybody should love themselves. There are things to love about yourself. But
agreed.
I don't feel like you should love yourself to death. And I feel like that's what I almost did. And
jeez, dang. She just said, I don't think you should love yourself to death. That is powerful right there. Wow.
And I wanted to share that perspective with you guys because it's one that doesn't get mentioned very much. So things went on. I could fit in one seat on an airplane. I needed a seatbelt extender one time, which was very, on my last airline trip that I took, I needed a belt extender, and that was a little disheartening. There were always things that would nag at me a little bit. I couldn't shop where I wanted to shop. I couldn't necessarily wear the fashion that I wanted to wear because I'm very interested in fashion and I keep up with fashion. I wanted to be a good example for my daughter of health and wellness. And I wanted to be a good example for my patients of health and wellness. And there were conversations I didn't feel comfortable having with my patients because I felt like, who am I to tell them that they should be doing these things when I'm also saying you can be healthy at any size. I am. And you can love yourself exactly the way that you are without making changes. And my philosophy has changed a little bit through experience in that you can love yourself, absolutely. And you can love yourself so much that you want to give yourself the best. And that's really where I am right now.
Amen. Amen. Love yourself enough to change. That's what I've always said. Love yourself enough to change. If someone tells you that because you're trying to lose weight, that obviously means you don't love yourself, that person is a dummy head. Okay? That's a fact.
I love myself so much that I want to give myself the opportunity to have a long life and to be around for everybody. And so I feel like this perspective isn't brought up a lot because a lot of the more vocal people are a little bit shy of my age range, and they haven't gotten to the point yet where serious things could happen. And so I went along feeling like I was healthy at my size, or as healthy as I could be for my size. And everything was gym dandy until one day I went to the hospital, not to work, but to do computer modules. Thank goodness I wasn't, even if I had been in my unit in the ER, they would have been able to tend to me quickly. But thank goodness I was in the hospital building, because with no history of cardiac problems, with no history in my family of cardiac problems, and with no symptoms that I can name other than fatigue and some exercise intolerance that I thought was just because of age, I had a cardiac arrest.
Oh
I
my
had
God.
bystander CPR. I was a full code blue. I had to be whisked off to the ER like they do on TV with people pressing on my chest on a stretcher. I had a full code. I spent a few days in the ICU being therapeutically cooled, paralyzed by medication, and cooled and sedated so that they could keep me from having brain inflammation and give.
I had no idea that this is where this was going. Absolutely no idea. Wow. Jeez. This title, she is not lying. She said really, and she said really, really. That's really, really true. Holy snap.
Give my body the best chance it had to heal. I had fractures in my sternum from my very effective CPR, which I'm grateful for. I was intubated. I had the whole 9 yards. And I had the best outcome you could possibly have from that situation, because I had the extreme fortune to have my cardiac arrest in a heart center of excellence and in a medical facility where I could be tended to immediately. Not everyone has that benefit. In fact, there are barely even statistics for people who are a full code as I was and 5-year lifespan. I had my 2-year anniversary of that on 9/11 of this year. So I'm 2 years out from my cardiac arrest and 1 year out from 1 year into my weight loss journey. I still have a little bit to go. I would like to lose about 13 more pounds, so I'm still working on that. But the main point of it, the main gist of it was I bought in to that health at any size, and I thought that I was healthy, and there was rhetoric to help me believe that I was healthy and to help me believe that I didn't need to change. And while it's great to feel good about yourself, it's also a little bit dangerous to ignore things because you have that convenient excuse of I can be healthy at this size.
Wow. So what frustrates me the most about not everyone in the health at every size, but what a lot of the more vocal minority of the health at every size movement are, is that they truly do, and we've seen this happen time and time again. They truly do make people feel bad for wanting to lose weight. And there's a lot of people that would see this woman right here, right? And I've seen it in the comments. She wasn't even that big. She wasn't even morbidly obese. She wasn't even this. She wasn't even that. Like basically comparing where they were to where maybe they are now or whatever, right? Saying she's not even that big. And so trust me on this. The people that are really into health at every size, that are much bigger, right? Tess Holiday or whatever, they're going to see this woman and be like, you don't have to lose any weight. You're a queen. You're beautiful. You are worthy. You're this. You're that. And they're going to downplay every single thing this woman says because she's 100 pounds lighter than they are. She's 150 pounds lighter than they are. She's 200 pounds lighter than they are. So what does she have to worry about? Meanwhile, she had a heart attack that almost killed her. Okay? So don't sit here and it's so frustrating when people say oh, you're not even that big. Like you don't know what someone's going through. And so to sit here and say everyone can be healthy, being morbidly obese is just not true. It's just not true.
Lots of people are healthy at this size. I'm not necessarily unhealthy. I'm just bigger. I'm just a bigger person. I'm just meant to be big. Those are the things that I told myself when countless tries at losing weight didn't work. I'm just meant to be this size. My metabolism is slow. I'm getting older, and this just comes with older age, and it's something that I have to accept. And then I also felt like there was something wrong with me because I didn't truly love myself the way that I was. I didn't fully embrace the body that I had. I still missed the body that I had prior to my 30s. I missed being able to dress exactly the way I wanted, to go into any store and find something that I needed, to get into any car and be comfortable driving it with being able to reach the pedals with my feet and not being pressed up against the steering wheel, to have space between me and the table when I'm in a booth, to have space on an airplane, to be able to stand on my feet, be real active, not be winded, and move around like I wanted to. And what a lot of people who embrace body positivity don't realize, many of them have always been heavier, or many of them have been heavy for a long time, And it's gradual, the change. As you gain weight and as you get bigger, you don't notice the mobility that you lose. You don't notice the pain that you start to put up with every day. You don't notice the soreness. You don't notice the fatigue. Or if you do, there are many convenient things to blame it on.
So, and this is what I think the crux of this whole video is about when you get older, right? Because she said she's in her 50s. So a lot of these things that we've talked about so many times on with Health at Every Size, a lot of people, oh, my lab results are fine, or I don't have any mobility issues. And it's like, yes, you are 20 years old. You're 25 years old. How are you going to feel in 10 years? That's important. And that's a fact, right? You don't stop aging. And so I think that is what is so interesting about her story is that, yeah, maybe she wasn't 400 pounds, but she didn't need to be 400 pounds to have these problems.
I have a different perspective in that I wasn't always heavy. I started getting heavier around 30. I was heavy until I was 49 or 50. And then I lost weight, a significant amount of weight. And as I lost the weight, I started to see abilities come back, exercise endurance come back, tolerance come back, less pain in my joints, less pain in arthritis that I was told that I had, which, lower back pain, less, I take stairs now when I would never have considered doing it before because I would be tired when I got to the bottom. I often, I try and sleep as much as I should, but on the days that I don't get as much sleep, I can still function because I still have a reserve of energy that I didn't have before. And I'm more interested in active things than I was before. And so you can say, I'm 100% happy at the size that I am. And that may be true for you. It might. I can only speak to my personal experience. I thought I was happy except for not being able to shop the way I wanted to shop and some of those inconveniences in public transport and being a little bit tired. But I chalked those things up to changes in metabolism, age, the job that I do, and how physical I have to be.
So I've said this before too. Like, you can be happy with who you are, right? You can be happy with the person that you are, but you can still also be unhappy about what your weight is doing to you, right? And that could be in 1,000 different ways, right? It could be shopping at clothes stores. It can be how you're able to move throughout the day. It could be not having to get a seatbelt extender, all of these things, right? So you can be happy with the person you are and love everything about yourself. Thank you so much for the shirt order. But also not be happy about the weight that you have on you. Like, I don't think they have to be exclusive. I think that they can coexist.
I never chalked them up to my weight until I had my cardiac arrest. I had a blocked artery, a very small artery in my heart. I had to get a stent placed, and I had a very no-nonsense cardiologist who told me I needed to lose weight if I wanted to be around for graduations, marriages, my kids, if I wanted to be around for that. And I know that people will say the medical establishment is laser focused on weight, and they use out-of-date charts, and they give out-of-date information, and they don't have enough nutrition information. And all of those things are true. They're 100% true. Every single health problem I had, from a little respiratory illness to a heavy period to back pain to being fatigued to a legitimate thyroid issue, were all chalked up to I needed to lose weight. So it was very easy for me to dismiss that advice because it came at me from every doctor all the time in every situation and as a cure-all for everything.
Yep, 100%. And that's why I always say, like, saying everything is up to your weight is detrimental, because when something might actually be because of that, someone that's heard that time and time again, that has lived a relatively long life, they're gonna be like, oh, you're just saying that. Everyone always says that, when it's genuinely a super crazy thing that's happened, right? For her, she had the heart attack, and she said she didn't lose weight until a year afterwards. So she was still thinking the same way, like, they don't know what they're talking about. They're always saying that it's my weight, blah, 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 right? And so that's why it's dangerous it's like the boy that cried wolf. If we're always saying, oh, it's your weight, that's why this, that's why this, that's why this, instead of actually finding the actual issue, when your weight truly is the issue and it's a life or death situation, someone might not believe you because they've heard, oh, it's your weight, about every single thing that they have going on.
And so it's easy for me to dismiss it because I felt like they just think that I have fat mommy syndrome and they just want me to lose weight, and that's not what's wrong. And no one is hearing me and no one is listening to me. And to an extent that was true, but there was some responsibility on my part too. I was not hearing and I was not listening, that there were things that I could do for myself to mitigate some of those problems. So, health at any size. I do 100% believe that you can be as healthy as you can be at any size that you are. You can have the most health that you can. But there's a difference between health and health. Sorry, a phone call cut me off. And so I wasn't going to edit, but I'll stitch these two things together the best I can because I'm not an editor. What I was saying is there is health and there is healthy, and you can have the most health possible at any size that you are. You can maximize your health at any size. But having gone
I agree with everything she's saying, by the way.
from big to much smaller, and seeing the difference in my okay labs to my really good labs, in my not good endurance to my really good endurance, in my painful joints to my not painful joints, in my not only my exercise tolerance, but my willingness to engage in those activities change over time. I will not say that you can be healthy at any size. And I know I'm going to get a lot of backlash for this. And I didn't even want to put it up. I'm trying to brace myself for what I'm going to get for saying this. But I feel like I'm in a unique position as a person who felt healthy at any size and embraced the size that I was and intended to stay that size and had a lot of good things in my life at that size, and then had a life-altering event because caused in great part by my weight and my health, life-changing experience. I had a life-changing experience. And many of the people in this movement, many of the people involved in the movement are not at the age where embracing this lifestyle has caught up with them yet. And I feel like it really is a yet. And it may be just me, and there are many people who live a whole healthy, long lifespan at a much higher weight than is what is recommended on the charts and by doctors and by nutritionists. But I don't think that they're the vast majority. I think they're the outliers. I think that most people would be healthier if they lost some weight. Even 20% of their excess weight would be a significant difference on the toll that it takes on us cardiac wise.
Or even if we didn't want to focus solely on, even if we didn't want to focus solely on losing weight, right? Because I know a lot of people get mad when you talk about intentional weight loss. But if people that are really, really overweight, you're 100, 200 pounds overweight, if they actually focused on healthy habits, right? Healthy habits, not overindulging, doing exercise that they can do that's healthy for them, whether that's walking, swimming, walking in the pool, whatever that might be, weight would come off, right? And you don't even have to be like, I'm losing weight. But if you're truly healthy at any size, or have health at any size, you would be doing things that would garner you health, not eating whatever you want, not at all moving your body, just doing whatever you want. That isn't health. And so if we are actually chasing health, I promise you, you're not going to end up 200 pounds overweight. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. You might end up 30 pounds overweight. That's totally understandable. But you're not going to end up being 200 pounds overweight if you are truly chasing health.
And so that's really why I wanted to get on today, because I wholeheartedly believe that there is too much emphasis on a perfect body. I wholeheartedly believe that there is too much emphasis on fad nutrition. I wholeheartedly believe that the medical establishment chalks up too much to you just need to lose weight. And I also wholeheartedly believe with all of my heart that all of us could be healthier if we got our weight to a more sustainable for your body range, a range that didn't put as much pressure and stress on your joints, as much stress on your heart, as much stress on the rest of your vascular system. I really do believe that to be true. And I wouldn't have said that 5 years ago. I wouldn't have said it 3 years ago. 3 years ago, I thought I was healthy at any size. And 2 years ago, I found out I wasn't.
So this is why I'm such a big... this is why I wanted to do this right after I talked about the video right before where it was like fasting, and that, like, yes, she lost what she said. She lost like 50 pounds in 3 months, but it was so far from being healthy, right? And so just losing weight does not equal you are in a healthier state. It's just not, that's not true. That's not true. But again, if you are chasing healthy habits and you are doing healthy things to your body, you're not going to be on either end of the spectrum. You're not going to be overly thin where you have no body fat at all, but you're also not going to be carrying excess amounts of body fat to where it is hindering your daily life. Right? It's not going to happen if you're actually focused on health. If you're focused on losing weight, you can also be focused on health. But just because you're focused on losing weight, that does not mean that you are focused on health. They are different things.
Found out the hard way. And if I can convince even one person not to put off doing something for yourself because there's a convenient alternative philosophy, which is healthy no matter what size you are, and loving yourself no matter what size you are, and body positivity, which I believe you can still have and still strive toward more health. If I can give that to one person, if I can give it to anybody, then I want to, because I don't want anybody to have the experience that I have of waking up in the ICU and looking around and realizing, wow, I don't have a choice now. I have to make changes, or I'm going to continue to have these new health problems that I never had before. And I, hand to whomever you believe in, did not have these health problems prior to that cardiac arrest. It was sudden and it was life altering. And so, again, to summarize, the reason that I'm putting myself out there, the reason that I'm making this video, the reason I'm subjecting myself to what I guarantee are going to be some hard comments to look at, is I can look at it from two perspectives. I can look at it from a person who was not always heavy, was heavy, and then was not. And I can tell the changes in my body from when I was heavy and now not being. And I can see the benefits that I've gotten because I have watched my health very closely over that 2-year period, not just from how I feel, but from other sources, from labs, from cardiac workups, from stress tests, from other things. I have quantifiable evidence that I am more healthy now than I was before. And I can also look at it from the standpoint of a person who was 30 and heavy and a person who was 50 and heavy. And there is the chance that embracing that lifestyle will at some point in your life catch up with you. It may not. There are people who will be perfect. There are people who smoke their whole lives and never get cancer. There are people who drink their whole lives and never get liver disease. There are people who overeat their whole lives, or people who take in an excess of calories and stay at a little bit higher weight than what is recommended and are completely healthy and have no problems whatsoever. But there are the unlucky ones like me who felt like they were completely healthy, embraced that love yourself, love the body, love the skin you're in, love your body. And especially for me with a daughter, I didn't want to set a bad example. So I wanted to be as body positive as I possibly could about my body, her body, everybody's body. And I embraced that. It was a really, really easy philosophy for me to embrace, and it helped me put off changes that I should have made to keep me at a more optimal state of being. So take from it what you will. If there's a tidbit in my story that will help you, that's great. If you think I'm full of shit, that's okay too, because there's one person out there who is going to hear me and think, you know, I am putting off some changes deep down I know I should make, because there are these people who look like they're living their best life, healthy, happy, above average weight, looking cute, have partners that they enjoy, have a life that they enjoy, are influencers, have, living their best life and not making these changes.
I would argue that those people that are those influencers, I would argue that they're lying. I don't believe them. I think they're putting on a show for the Instagram. I know it's not, you don't hear about it a lot, influencers lying about things, but they do it, you guys. They do.
So if they can live happy lives like that, I can too. I don't need to take these hard steps. I don't need to do these hard things. And I'll be straight up. I didn't do the hard things until I didn't have a choice but to do the hard things. Well, I guess you always have a choice. I had the choice that I could roll the dice and hope that I didn't have any more cardiac problems, or take hands full of medicine and control it that way and hope that I didn't have any more cardiac problems. I chose to go a different route. I chose to make the changes that I had to make. And I'm very happy with them. I don't feel deprived. I don't feel like I've given up. I don't feel like my life is harder. I don't feel like I can't socialize. I live in the South. We socialize with food. I feel like I can still be involved in everybody's social activities. I feel like I can still do all those things. And I feel even more empowered to help my patients be healthy because I'm speaking from a place of experience. I went from there to here. I took some people hate that word journey, but I took a health journey and I came out on the other side of it. And I have a lot to offer as far as that's concerned.
Yeah, I think that it's really, really interesting. And I think that she's correct when she says she has an interesting perspective, because like she said, she wasn't overweight until she hit her 30s. And then in her 30s, she gained some weight. And then in her 50s is when she had the heart attack. And then now she's on her journey in her 50s. I feel like this is a very interesting point of view that a lot of people, like she said, overlook.
So going forward, I'm going to use this little baby platform that I have, this tiny little channel with very few viewers, and I'm going to use it to share with you my cooking, what I eat in a day, what I know about fitness, what I know about how I got from where I was to where I am, and just be kind of real and raw. And I'll answer questions. I'll answer questions about the cardiac stuff. I'll answer questions about the PTSD I have from basically dying and then coming back, because that is a real mind trip as well. I'll talk about the body dysmorphia that I have, because there is some of that regardless of which direction you go in. If you get bigger or if you get smaller or if anything changes, there is sometimes some body dysmorphia there, and I absolutely have some. And that will probably be the next topic that I talk about. I'll help you figure out your macros. I'll help you figure out how to make some small swaps in your diet, because I feel like that's the easiest thing, swapping out one thing for another, one step at a time, baby step at a time, because it's a journey. It really is. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. And so if you take away anything from this, take away it's great to love yourself and to have body positive feelings. It becomes not great when you use those things as a little bit of a crutch, or as logic, or as reasoning, or as a way to convince yourself that you don't need to make any changes. We're all constantly growing, evolving, changing, and we can all be healthier. So while you can have health at any size, you can be healthier. And that's what I'm going to talk about here from here on out. But I just needed to really get that off my chest, because it's been weighing on me for a long time. And there's so much focus right now, I feel like, on different styles of eating and weight loss products, and so many things are being promoted by so many influencers, and so many people are out there.
So, I mean, obviously this is the end of the video, but I think that it's been really fun being able to bring you guys these videos from people that, you know, aren't super well known. I think she currently has 100 subscribers, 112. Well, let's see how many of you guys subscribed since this video started. So now she's at 117. So she doesn't, you know, this video has 42 views, okay? And so it's really interesting to hear from people that don't have an agenda, that aren't trying to promote anything because they're trying to make money. Like, she's just saying this because this is what she believes, right? And I think that that is incredibly important, and I'm really glad that she shared you know, her perspective. So I highly recommend you guys go over there, subscribe to her channel. I'll have it linked down in the description. But I'm really glad that I watched this and I was able to bring this to you guys.